All right, check it out, guys. We got the E-Ride City mid-drive. Purchased it for $6.99 on Walmart.com. We're gonna do a bit of an unboxing. All right, where to go? One of these put together. This is the second one. So, that box open. Oh my goodness. Here we go. That's what it looks like. Let's see what else we have. We got some pedals here. FYI, on the first bike that I put together, there was a bearing that fell out of one of the pedals here, so I ended up using a different set of pedals. But we'll try these on this one. Get little caps for the nuts on the rear or the front. Charger. A clip. Like the owner's manual. A safety manual on charging. Charging brick. Additional charging cable. Looks like it's electric ratings 36 volts at 10 amp hours. Manufactured 2021, December 5th of 2021. MDA Li-ion battery charger. There's the information right there. All right. We're gonna start taking it apart. Oh, dude. We're almost there. All right, be right back. Got to find the scissors. All right, got scissors. Let's start again. Slide this off of this. Okay, got that. All right, and there is the front wheel. You pull this off, make sure you don't twist it off, just pull it off because if you twist it, you're going to twist that bolt off and it's going to get stuck in this little holder. Right there, we got 700C for the wheel size. And we have the front fender here. Screw it here and then move this. Protect them. Cool. There's the front fender. Be careful, guys, whenever you're taking all this apart, not to cut anything other than what needs to be cut. Say that it's pretty well packed. I haven't noticed any scratches yet. There's definitely a lot of extra packing in here, just in case. Which is a good thing. In my experience, a lot of times the packaging is what matters the most for keeping them in good shape when they're being shipped. All right, looks like we have seat. Let's go ahead and pop this open to see what we've got. Not bad. Definitely a cheap adjustable, but not bad. Seems a little cushy. We'll see when we get on it. Seats always feel more cushy until you get on the road. Not bad. disc brakes on this one. You might see the version that does have a mid-drive, that's a hub drive, and it does not have disc brakes. It's one of the biggest reasons why I would have one version together. Mid-drive and those disc brakes. Mid-drive rather than on the hub. Let's see. Here. I guess. I have elected to keep these keys on here so that I know which keys go with what bike. I don't plan on taking the batteries out. There definitely is a key slot right here at the top on this side that I could use to take that battery out right here. It removes from the top, but I don't plan on doing that. So at least for right now, let's go ahead and put this in. So you have to remove this from the head tube. Make sure there's nothing extra here. And then just put it right down on there. Pretty simple. Here a little bit. You can fast forward to this part if you want to. Please take off this. Oh, looks like we've got this new zip tie on the crank arm. Goes to the frame. That boy out of there. And boom. Looking good. So also you got this little top thing right here. Remove it. Okay. Now we gotta start putting this bad boy together. Let's see. Let's start with the seat. Loosen this off. Restrict the little flange. So you picking that up. Place this inside. We put it back in, and that's not very tight. Yeah, that's not how you want it. So we'll loosen that off, and then there's a little bolt right here. We'll tighten that, righty tighty. And then you should be able to clamp this down, and it should not move. You may have to clamp it a little bit more, you know, tighten that up over time, but for right now, it looks like it's holding, so let's leave it right there. Straighten up that seat. All right. Now, let's see what else. Let's see what the manual says to do first. I didn't follow the manual last time we did this. I put a few bikes together, so it's not something that's too difficult for me. Well, it says 36 volts, 250 watts, 20 mile an hour, efficiency 80%. I don't know what the efficiency is, but it's like equal to or greater than 80%. Okay, there we go. So it says to start with the reflectors. Right. We're going to start with front fender. I think so. Yes. I think start with the pedals in the seat. That's where we'll start. We got the seat on. Now we got the pedals. On these pedals, you're going to have a left and a right. So it's going to say it. I don't know if you can see it, but there's going to be a little L on that one and a R on this one. I don't know if you can see it. Anyway, trust me. There's a right and a left. So we're on the left side of the bike, and we're going to use the left pedal, and we're going to start turning that in. The way I like to remember it is that in order to tighten it, you turn towards the front of the bike. So if you're on the left side of the bike, when you have the left pedal, you should be able to touch this. It's actually going to be left, but it's going to be towards the front of the bike. So tighten towards the front, loosen towards the back. And that goes for the other side too. So that side on, finger tight. Always start at finger tight. Do not go with the wrench at first. That's where you go on this side. Move the bike over a little bit. Take this one and we will twist it finger tight towards the front of the bike. On this side, it'll be righty tight. Okay. There we go. May have to pick that bike up and move the crank on to where you can get to it more easily. Right. So if I remember right, I believe these are 15 millimeter, but I'm gonna get my 15 and 16 millimeter wrench and I'll let you know which one it is. Definitely 15 millimeter wrench for the pedals. Again, we're going to take this wrench and we're going to twist that bolt towards the front of the bike on the left side, towards the front on the bike on the right side to tighten. If you really want to be, I guess, maintenance aware, EM aware, you can lube up these pedals before you put them in the crank. Helps prevent creaking and stuff like that and seizing. So there's your reminder not to crank on it too much before the bike is stable. So here we go. We're on the right side. We're going to turn that bolt on the pedal towards the front of the bike until it's no. Yet again, on this side, before you put it in, you could put some grease or anti-seize on these pedals. That will definitely help if you don't plan on removing the pedals anytime soon. Or if you do plan on, riding in it quite a bit and then just swapping the pedals out potentially, definitely won't have the anti-seize on there. I will likely go back behind this and put it back on, loosen it off, and then put it back on. So just like we went towards the front of the bike, tightening on either side. If you're on either side to loosen, you go towards the back of it. Okay? So front of the bike, back of the bike. Okay? All right, so we've got those snug. Now what we're gonna do, we're gonna double check, make sure that's good. All right, those are good. Now, let's see what it says to do next. It says adjust the saddle height. Well, I'm not adjusting saddle height because we don't have the front wheel on yet. So it looks like we probably need to put the front wheel on next. But before we put the front wheel on, I think we need to tighten these handlebars up. And the way this works is, it's just loosey-goosey until you tighten up this little Allen key right here. Or excuse me, you're gonna take an Allen key and you're gonna tighten this bolt up. And then there's a little piece in here that expands and thrusts out and creates the ability to stay in one position and control the forks. All right, so stick with me. I'm going to figure out what size the Allen key is for this headset. Hopefully it's not the one I'm missing. And it is not. I have it. It's right here. It is a HW6. I don't know if you can see that. HW6. And I like to use these. You can use a regular Allen key, like something like this, and you get the proper size. But I like to use these just because I have a wrench set that makes it a little easier to turn on. We're gonna take this. We're gonna tighten up the headset, but first we want to make sure that we have that port pointing straight forward. So we got the port pointing straight forward, and then we turn the bars also turning straight forward. You may not get it perfect right out the gate, but get it as straight as you can. And then we just tighten this thing. Loose in the beginning, but it should tighten up as you go. It'll be easier to hold the handlebars in place. Okay, there we go. Now it's tightening up. You're gonna have to wrench on it a little while before it starts hang up. Once it gets tight, make sure you straighten them up again. Straighten. That's again, you want the handlebars horizontal and these forks horizontal. And when we put the front wheel on, then it'll be straight forward, right? And we could, in the event that we need to, loosen this off once we have the front wheel on and adjust it and straighten it out. But for now, this ought to be good. All right. Now, don't over tighten this. Just don't really torque on it. You want it tight, but you don't want it over tight. So just give it real good snug. And there you go. So now, once that's tight, the handlebars and the fork should turn together. This is my wrench setup. All right, so now it looks like it is time for the front wheel. Wow. One thing about the front wheel though, when you put it on, the bike is not going to stay standing up anymore. So you need to make sure that you're ready to put the kickstand down. These little bolts right here. Actually, let me show you these before I put that on. Okay. All right, so you're going to have this little, you have your nut, and then you're going to have a fastener, and then you're going to have this little locking deal jig right here, okay? There's going to be a place and the fork, there's going to be a little hole that you place this into. And then you tighten both these down, right? So what you want to make sure to do is that on each side, you pull these out as far as you can so that the fork will go right here and right here. That might be obvious to most of you, but just in case there's somebody out there that doesn't know that. Cool. Then I'm going to finger tight that real quick on both sides. And then I'm going to take this over here and I'm going to this kickstand down. Boom. It's coming together. I like it. All right. So before we do that, before you tighten those down, because I know you're going to want to tighten those down, all right? Remember, you got this fender you got to handle. Okay. So this fender is going to come in here like this. And the instructions are not very clear on this, okay? But I'm just going to show you. Just come in here. You don't really have to worry about these other than putting them on the outside of the wheel, okay? So these tangs could be on the outside of the wheel because they're going to eventually tighten up to where this bolt you just put on there is, okay? But before we do that, we have got a little bolt right here at the top of this fork where you're going to have to loosen this lock washer off, or this lock nut, okay? So let me figure out what size that lock nut is real quick. I think it's a 10 millimeter, but yep, 10 millimeter. Take that, take that 10 millimeter. You can't see that. And you're going to loosen that off. Real easy like. Because it's a lock washer, you can't do it with your fingers, otherwise I would. It's a good thing that it's a lock washer because that ends up holding it in place. You don't have to worry about it. And then you're going to take your finger. You got this little tang right here. You can't see it. I'm going to show you. So it's going to have this little tang, okay? You're going to have that, and it's going to seat right up against. So that white part back there, you see, okay? There's going to be a bolt that sticks out, and that bolt is going to go straight through here. And then you're going to put this washer. There's a washer, and then you're going to put this nut, okay? There's the washer. They're both quite small. sure we have it in place. Then just gonna line that up. Put that washer on. We're gonna put the bolt on after that. Put the nut, excuse me. You can just do it finger tight. Just for now. All right. Then we're gonna come down here to the wheel. We're gonna loosen this nut off on this side. You're gonna move that tang up to this little hole right here. And you're gonna take that trunk fender, that little loop, and put it on top of the bolt. You're gonna tighten the nut, tightening it all in place. You should be good to go. Pro tip: this little brake cable piece you need to have it on the outside. Don't let it get caught up here in the brakes, because it will make noise and it could get stuck in there. Okay. We're gonna go on the other side and do the same thing. Loosen off that bolt or that nut. Line up that little flange, put it in the hole, place the fender piece onto the bolt, and then tighten it down with the nut. Right. They're only finger tight. Again, don't ride finger tight. You have to tighten it up after this. But for now, you're going to come back up here. You're going to tighten this up. You want to make sure that you have clearance off of the tire. This can go up and down. All right. So if this thing is all the way down and it's rubbing on that tire, then you're going to need to bring it up. All right. So what I like to do is bring it up and then tighten. Now don't over tighten this. It probably just needs to be like a screwdriver or a small wrench tightened up. Okay. It's a lock washer, so it's not going to back off. You don't have to tighten it all the way up. If you do that, you might bend this little flange and you'll end up not being able to mount the fender correctly. All right, so now we've got that portion done. Now we need to worry about tightening up these bolts on the front and back, okay? Or these nuts. You know, I keep saying nuts and bolts getting all messed up. You know what I'm talking about. Definitely not a 16. Not 15. All right, looks like 15 is the winner chicken dinner. Now, you don't want to tighten these up too much. You want to tighten them up to where they're firm, but if you tighten it up too much, this front wheel will not spin freely. So I'm going to go ahead and tighten these up real tight. Show you what I mean. All right, so I went ahead and I tightened those up. I didn't tighten them up a whole lot, but I definitely did tighten them up, probably more than they need to be. And I'll take that front wheel through. See that? See how that front wheel does so much? It's caught in there. That's not the brakes. That is me having the front bolts too tight. So you want to back it off a little bit. I'm not saying have them loose. I'm saying don't spin them so tight that this wheel gets bound up. Definitely check that. So now I backed them off a little bit. Now we lift it up. See that? Okay. Sounds like we have a little bit of a rub somewhere. That's not ideal. I think we might have a bit thinner. Not ideal. Let's try it again. Not terrible. Okay, that's a little better. I got that tight. Got that tight. I don't like that. Okay, so it kind of sounds like we might have a problem with this fender. Uh, we'll have to bend that out. We'll come back to that in a little bit. Maybe we got it too high, or maybe there's just too much adjustment in this right here. I don't know. We'll have to take a look at it. I have another bike over there that this didn't happen to, but definitely I want these fenders, so I'm gonna have to make some adjustments. It's probably just gonna have to be me taking this off. And there's this little bar right here that's attached. I'm just gonna have to bend it where it needs to be so that it's in the proper place. Anyway, let's go on to the next steps as if that wasn't a problem. And the next step in putting this together and getting it rideable would be airing up the tires, I think. Now, where is my air pump? 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 Hmm. Well, guys and girls, up around here, an electric one. I can't seem to find it. Hmm. I'm gonna go look for my air pump. We're gonna pause this. You've seen air pump. Sweet. All right, so you just turn the bad boy on, and we're gonna look at the tires and see what the PSI calls for. See this? All right, so it says inflate 50 to 80 PSI. So what we're gonna do on our handy dandy Ryobi air pump is we're gonna, I don't know if you can see that. Probably not. Whatever. Anyway, I'm gonna set it to 50. Let's go with 60 PSI. Sometimes you're gonna have to move this wheel so that you can get to that. Yeah. Click start. Don't worry. One. Make sure you put this cap back on. Otherwise you will lose it. Well, don't do like I did. Straighten these up before you um, put it up there. Make sure that that's nice and straight. You don't want to have these valve stems going out sideways. Probably won't hurt it initially, but it's not ideal. Other than charging this bad boy and fixing that front fender, we're good to go. So, just a recap of what we did. We tightened these pedals up. I don't spin very well. I don't like that. We put this front fender on. You tighten this bolt right here with the handlebars, aligned it with the front fork, made sure it was in its place. We make sure you check these bolts back here on the rear. You can go ahead and do that right now. So the bike comes with, let me show you, comes with these little covers like this. And you don't have to have them on there, but you can. So I'm gonna come back here. I'm just gonna double check that tightness. It's pretty tight. I'm gonna put that one back on there. And I'm gonna do the same thing with this side. Pull this off. Double check that tightness. It's pretty tight. Put that cap back on. And typically at this point, I would take these two caps and I'd put it right there on both sides. Just boom, boom. But because that fender is bent, I'm gonna have to do a little bit of adjustment to these bars right here. Okay? So I'm gonna pause you and I'm going to try to bend those. I'm gonna take that off right here, take it off probably up here, bend it, and then see if I can't get this fender to line up straight. Because if I don't, I'll show you what's happening right now. So like before where I showed you where this wheel was bounced up, you hear that? That means that this tire is rubbing on this side, not on this side. And I need to adjust that. Otherwise it'll continue to create heat and probably pop this tire. Okay. So I'm gonna put you on pause and I'm gonna try to fix this and we'll be back. In the meantime, I'm gonna take this opportunity to actually let's do this first. So I can fix that while it's charging. I don't know if you can hear that music in the background. If you can, that's annoying. I apologize, but I just need a little something to just do while I'm up here watching on my bike. We're gonna push this little button right here. Let's see how much juice we have in the battery already. Looks like we're about 3/4 full. That's pretty good. We're gonna take this, turn that back off. We're gonna plug that in, and then we're gonna plug this little this little battery box into the wall socket, and charge this bad boy while I fix that thing. And I will see you either one when I get that bin done and it fits on there properly, or two when I take that front fender off. Later, dudes.